Hey everyone, Neil here. Episode 2. We're going to dig in at this point and start getting working on this main mod class. Let me find my folder here that we're working in. Cool, so we'll come back to that. Open up Eclipse. Mic adjustment. There we go. Production, that's where I want to be. Alright, so we've got our example mod and everything in here, but we're just going to go ahead and shit can that real proper like. Sweet, so let's expand this out a little bit. We'll do our resources, we'll do our source.main. We're just going to right click on this, get rid of that, and we're going to make our own. So main.java, we're going to go ahead and do a new class, and we're going to name this main, and the package is going to be com.neilgaming.mod. so this can be whatever you want. Typical naming convention, you do your website backwards, what have you. This works. You can do net.potatosalad.mod.tacosalad, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Just make sure that your main modding class actually says main, right? So, this is some pretty straightforward stuff. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of room to work here, and we are going to start out with our initialization methods. So we will do public void. Good lord, I got the burpees. We're going to do pre-init. And this is going to be FML pre-initialization event. And we're going to call this pre-event, one word. Make it lowercase. We're going to do our curly brace, open that up, close it, and because I'm lazy, we're going to copy and paste this bad boy 2 more times. And we want to get a little indent action going on these. There we go. And we're going to change pre-init to init, and we're going to change our pre-event to event. We're going to make sure to take out the pre right here. We're going to come down. We're going to change the name of this to post init, and this one to post event, like so. We're going to change this pre to post as well. Now, we've got some errors here. What we can do, we can hold our mouse over these. We can import those, right? So we will import these first 2. The shortcut within Eclipse to import all of them is Control-Shift-O. So you'll see that that last one automatically shows up right here. No more error. We're good. Next thing we need to do is put in our event handlers, and I'm going to do a separate tutorial on event handlers at a later time. Cool Alias on the Minecraft forums website does a really awesome tutorial on these, and I'm going to kind of model it, a video version off of what he does, and I'll make sure to link him credit and all that. So let's get event handler in there. I spelled that one wrong. Cool. At this point, this is what our main mod class is going to look like. There's still a couple of other things that we need to do here, but this is going to be the general gist of what it looks like. So what we need to do now is we need to make our mod ID and our mod name. So what we're going to do is we're going to type @mod, and we're just going to open and close this real fast and import it, and we're going to leave it at that. It's going to tell us, however, that we're missing some attributes, but we'll come back and do those in a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to our main modding folder. I'm going to do a new class, and I'm going to name this ng global. And these are essentially going to be global variables that are used throughout my entire mod. I'm going to put them in here. This is where they're going to be, and it really just kind of makes them easy to access and reference later on without cluttering up our main modding class, right? So Of course, the first few things that we need are just going to be the missing attributes for this mod, right? Let's go ahead and add those, and it looks like all it really requires is just the mod ID. So we will go ahead and come in here. We're going to do a public static final string. We are going to call this mod ID, and we are going to name it NG for Neo Gaming. If you guys want to have the same naming conventions that I do, that's completely cool. You can do that. If you want to be creative and make your own, totally do that as well. Public static final string, and this one is going to be the mod name, which is going to be my mod, like so. And then we're going to do a public static final string version, and then this is going to equal version 0.1, like so. Sweet, we got those in there. So let's come back here. We're going to have our mod ID. So we are just going to say, we'll get rid of the quotes, that we want ng global, and we are going to have mod ID. The name will be ng global mod name, and version ng global version. Sweet, so we've got those in there. We're going to save it up just to make sure that everything is nice and tidy. Next thing that we're going to need is an instance. So we will come down within our main mod class, and we are going to need to open up an instance. We're going to be using this a ton for some of the more advanced stuff that we're going to be doing. And really what this is going to want is just your mod ID. So we'll put that in there. Control-Shift-O to import our stuff, and it's giving us an error. The annotation app mod doesn't like that, but that's okay. We're going to do public static main instance. Good grief. And now that we've actually declared that instance, it likes it. It says that's okay. That's okay, I can handle that. Next, what we got to do is some proxies. Proxies are important stuff. I'm going to go into these in a little bit more detail later on. Let's just get those set up at this point. So we're going to do a new package, and we're going to do a class, and we're going to call this common proxy. Just like I did last time, I actually want to create a new package to put this in, so I'll drop it up here in the proxy folder. So what's happening is I don't actually have a proxy folder up here, but by adding .proxy at the end of mod and clicking finish, you will see that it automatically creates this package for me. From here I can actually go in and do a new class, and this one is going to be client proxy, like so. So we've got each of those set up. Let's come back to our ng global, where we have our global declarations, and let's create those strings that we're going to need to initialize those proxies. So we're going to go in public static final string, and I'm going to call this ng client underscore proxy, and we want that to be an ng, and we need to put something in that. And really what we want to do is we want to point to that client proxy file. So neil.gaming, still can't type. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It's not going to change. I'm not going to do anything to fix it, so fucking deal. Client proxy, make sure that your case matches on this as it did for the path, because really what you see here is we have this path, right, which leads us to this package right here, and then we need to make sure to put in client proxy. If we don't capitalize that, this is not going to work properly, so make sure that you do that. Java likes its cases, likes everything to be properly cased. Is that even a thing? I may have just made that up. I know that Java is picky like that, so go with it. ng underscore common underscore proxy. we're going to really do the same thing that we did here before. neilgaming.mod.proxy.common proxy, and we're going to close that up with a semicolon. Nice. Okay. What's next? We need to do a little @sided proxy. We're going to import that, and it's going to say that we are, of course, doing something wrong. The reason that we're doing something wrong is we need some stuff inside of this, right? So we had our brackets, parentheticals. We're going to say client side is going to be equal to our ng global variable that we just declared, and we are going to have our client proxy. We're going to do comma, we're going to do server side, capital S, one word, and this is going to be ng global dot common proxy. Right, so this is essentially stuff that's being rendered on the client side, stuff that's being rendered on the server side, and then what we need to do is we need to actually create a variable. We need to create one of those variables that's going to be referencing this proxy, and we will do public static common proxy, and we're just going to name that proxy. Nice and tight. We're going to import our common proxy class there, and boom, no errors. We're looking good. So let's check this out. Let's jump into Minecraft here. Oh, it didn't like that. What is it? What do we got going on here? Our first error to troubleshoot. Attempted to load a proxy into that blah blah blah, but the types don't match. You know why? Because I'm a goofy bastard. That's why. We're going to come into common proxy, and this is actually good for right now, but our client proxy is not. So what we're going to do is we're going to say client proxy extends common proxy, and that is, we're going to import that real fast, and we're going to save it, and now let's give it a try. I like to keep my console window big because we're going to run into a lot of errors, and we're going to use those to help us go through and diagnose what's going on, what kind of problems that we're having. Alright, so we can come in, we can go into mods, we can see that our mod is info right here. We're going to work on our mcmod info file at a later time, once we start getting some meat and bones into our mod. I'm actually going to come in and we're going to nip this right now. Come on, load. Alright, cool. What do I want to do? Music, sounds. We're going to turn music all the way off. Controls. I like to invert my mouse. Sweet. And done. Alright, cool. So, a couple more things that we need to do here. We're going to come into our main class, and within that main class we are going to go to our pre-initialization event, and we are going to do some work with our proxy. And what we're going to do is we're going to name this pre-init, and we'll name it just like we have here, pre-event, like so. Now let's just go ahead and copy this, and we're going to drop it into each of these, and we're going to have to come back through and change these. Now, what we got to do is we got to come in and create each of these functions within our client proxy. So, actually, both of our proxies. We need to do it in both of them. So, inside our common proxy, give us a little bit of room to work. We're going to do public void pre-init, and it'll be FML pre-initialization event, and that will be our pre-event. We're going to do a curly brace and close that off. We'll do a quick import on that, and let's go ahead and duplicate that just like we did in our mod class a couple more times here. Let's get some tabs in here. I like to keep that code clean, nice and tidy. Init event, go to you, down here to post. We're going to have to do this one more time, so you guys are going to be pros at this by the time we are done. Post, Control-Shift-O to get our imports in there. We're going to save this, and what we're going to do here is let's actually just copy and paste this bad boy into our client proxy. Now in our client proxy, we're going to do a little bit more here. We're going to save this. Really what we want to do is we want to call those things. So we are going to do a super.preinit, and it will be our pre-event. Down here we are going to do a super.init event, and then down here we are going to do a super.init, and that will be our, no, we want post-init, post-event. There we go. We will save that up. So we've set up our client proxy. We'll close that. We've set up our common proxy. We will close that. At this point, I don't see us needing any other global variables until we get into GUI handlers. We'll do one for creative tabs a little bit later. Yeah, so let's close that. We have our main mod class, and we'll go ahead and save this, even though it doesn't need to be saved. Just tidy things up. And that pretty much covers everything. So, our main mod class is set up. What do I have on the agenda next? We did our mod class, we did our proxies. Next we're going to create a block and work on some renderers. Then after that we'll do some items. So, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Start getting it rendering, so that way I can get it uploaded. And as always, subscribe if you like what you see, like even if you don't, yeah, and comment if you have any questions. The more interaction, the better. Alright, I will see you guys, not see you guys and gals, I will hear from you soon. You will hear from me soon. Okay, bye.